This is a $90,000 mistake. On paper, this SUV is a 10 out of 10. It's got the massage seats, the 30-inch screens, and enough tech to land a rover on Mars. But in your driveway, it's a brick, a very expensive leather-wrapped paperweight. I'm a master tech, and I'm tired of seeing people light their retirement funds on fire because they trusted a shiny brochure or a reliability score based on a few months of ownership. Today, we aren't just looking at what Consumer Reports says is bad. I'm showing you the internal memos, the specific part numbers that are failing, and the ghost depreciation that's eating your equity while you sleep. We're counting down the 7 money pit cars that look like a dream, but end up as a nightmare. And stick around for number 1, because it's the best-selling truck in American history, but the newest version has a silent killer flaw that is currently bankrupting owners who bought it secondhand. If you want to know what the dealerships don't want you to see on the lift, let's get into it. Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. Let's start with the Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. On the surface, it's the ultimate dad mobile. It's quiet, it saves you a fortune on gas, and it's spacious. But there is a reason you can find 2022 models sitting on used car lots for 40% off their original MSRP. Most people think hybrid problems mean a battery that just stops holding a charge. I wish it were that simple. On the Pacifica, the real villain is something called coolant intrusion. Last month, a guy towed his Pacifica into my shop. It had 38,000 miles, just 2,000 miles past the bumper-to-bumper warranty. The car was totally dead. No lights, no ready sign. I popped the hood and saw it, the pink crust. A $5 rubber seal in the high-voltage coolant line fails. That's it, one $5 piece of rubber. But when it fails, it leaks conductive coolant directly into the high-voltage bus bar. It doesn't just blow a fuse, it pries the brain. Repair costs between $7,400 and $9,000 for a full battery contactor and wiring harness replacement. Here's your insider tip. If you own one of these or you're looking at one, take a flashlight and look at the plastic coolant hoses near the battery pack. If you see any white or pink chalky residue, do not pass go, do not give them a dime. That is a ticking time bomb. Chrysler knows this. There are dozens of TSBs, technical service bulletins, about electrical isolation faults. But until it becomes a full-blown safety recall, that $8,000 bill is yours to carry.
Next up is a duo that proves advanced doesn't always mean better. The Infiniti QX50 and its cousin, the Nissan Rogue. Now, before you tell me your Rogue has 100,000 miles and it's been fine, you need to listen closely. Because if you've ever felt a slight shudder when pulling away from a stoplight, you are currently standing on a financial landmine. Nissan and Infiniti spent billions developing the VC turbo engine. That's VC as in variable compression. It's an engine that can literally change its compression ratio on the fly. It sounds like genius engineering, right? Wrong. In the real world, it's a complexity nightmare. We're seeing catastrophic main bearing failures at as low as 20,000 miles. But wait, it gets worse. This engine is paired with the Jatco CVTX transmission. In the shop, we call this the rubber band sensation. If you're test driving one of these and you feel a slight delay like the car is stretching before it moves, that's the steel belt in the transmission slipping against the pulleys. Watch out for the variable displacement oil pump. If it loses pressure for even 3 seconds, the VC turbo linkage can seize. And look at the ghost depreciation. According to Black Book data, the QX50 is losing value faster than almost any other compact luxury SUV in its class. Why? Because the second-hand market is terrified of a car that requires a master engine specialist just to do a basic timing adjustment. Buying a VC turbo engine is like buying a mechanical watch with 1,000 moving parts to use while you're jackhammering concrete. It's too delicate for the job it's supposed to do. But if you think a complex gas engine is bad, wait until you see what's happening with the precision German engineering in the EV world. It's not a mechanical failure, it's a software ghost that can lock you out of your own car in the middle of a car wash. The Audi Q4 e-tron. Now we move from mechanical nightmares to the digital ones, the Audi Q4 e-tron. Audi sold this car on the promise of German precision and progress through technology. But if you visit the owners' forums here in 2026, the technology is exactly what's leaving people stranded at traffic lights. I had a client with a 2024 Q4 who told me the car gaslit her. She'd be driving and the audio would just die. Then the GPS would freeze. Then, the kicker, She'd stop at a red light and the car would refuse to start again. It would just display a cryptic engineering system error message. It's not just a glitch, it's a conflict between the comms box or C box and the 12-volt battery management system. Here is the failure. If the 12-volt lead-acid battery drops below a certain voltage because the software won't let the car sleep properly, the entire high-voltage system locks out for safety. You're sitting on a $50,000 battery pack, but you can't move because a small 12-volt battery is confused. And don't get me started on the recalls. Audi just issued a major update, Remedy 05260, because the software was failing to show the car was in neutral, creating a massive rollaway risk. If you're buying one used, ask the dealer for a full software version log. If it hasn't been updated to the latest 2025 or 2026 patch, you're not buying a car, you're buying a beta test.
The Jeep Wrangler. You've seen the videos. The Jeep Wrangler Death Wobble. It's the most famous suspension failure in the world, and yet Jeep keeps selling them by the hundreds of thousands. I want to settle this in the comments right now. Is the Jeep life worth the repair bills, or are people just paying a premium for a rugged look that can't handle a highway expansion joint? Tell me your worst Jeep story below. I'll be hearting the ones that made me laugh or cry. Most people think the Death Wobble is fixed by a steering damper. That is a lie. In the shop, we know a steering damper is just a band-aid. It's like putting a silencer on a gun. The gun still fires, you just don't hear it as much. The real Death Wobble is caused by loose or low-quality track bar bushings and ball joints. Jeep recently settled a massive class action lawsuit extending warranties on the steering damper to 8 years or 90,000 miles. But here's the catch the dealership won't tell you. They only cover the damper. If your ball joints are shot because the wobble beat them to death, that's coming out of your pocket. To do it right, you need a heavy-duty adjustable track bar and high-quality aftermarket ball joints. We're talking a total cost of $1,200 to $3,000 to actually fix what the factory couldn't. If you're test driving a used Wrangler, do not just drive it around the block. Take it on the highway, find a bridge expansion joint, and hit it at 55 miles per hour. If that steering wheel starts dancing, hand the keys back and run. The Ford F-150 Lightning. We've reached the truck that was supposed to save the American pickup, the Ford F-150 Lightning. Now, I love the way this truck drives, but right now it is facing one of the most embarrassing recalls in Ford's history. As of December 2025, Ford has recalled over 270,000 vehicles, including 100,000 Lightnings, for a rollaway risk. This isn't just a software bug, it's a physical failure in the integrated park module. I saw a video from a technician last week where a Lightning owner put the truck in park, stepped out to get his mail, and watched his $80,000 truck slowly ghost ride itself into a ditch. The technical reason is the mechanical park pawl. That's the metal pin that keeps your car from moving, is binding against a slider component. It's literally getting stuck. Ford plans to release a software fix in February 2026, but as a mechanic, I have to ask, how do you fix a physical, sticking metal part with lines of code? They're essentially trying to use software to force the motor to push the pin harder. If you own a 2022 through 2026 Lightning, do not trust the P on the dash. Set your electronic parking brake manually every single time until you get that update.
The Toyota Tundra.
Finally, we have to talk about the betrayal of the year. The number one car you need to avoid right now is the 2022 through 2024 Toyota Tundra with the V35A twin-turbo V6. For 20 years, every mechanic in America told you, buy a Toyota and keep it forever. But right now, Tundra owners are facing catastrophic engine failure at 70 miles per hour with zero warning. This isn't just a bad batch of parts, this is a manufacturing debris nightmare. According to the official safety recalls updated for January 2026, Toyota has confirmed that tiny metal fragments called machining debris were left inside the engine block during the manufacturing process. Here is the silent killer mechanism. These microscopic metal shards get stuck in the number one crankshaft main bearing. Because this engine is heavily boosted to make big torque at low RPMs, those shards act like sandpaper. They shred the bearing, the engine knocks for 3 seconds, and then, boom, total loss of power.
Toyota just expanded the recall to include another 127,000 vehicles, including the Lexus GX and LX, because their first attempt at a fix didn't work. But here's the kicker the dealerships are whispering about. Toyota still hasn't included the iForce Max hybrids in the engine replacement recall. Their excuse? They claim that because the hybrid has an electric motor, if the gas engine explodes, you can still limp the truck off the road using electric power. Think about that. They're not saying the hybrid engine is safe, they're just saying it's less likely to cause a pileup when it dies. If you aren't covered by a recall, a crate engine replacement for a new-gen Tundra is currently quoted between $15,000 and $22,000. This has absolutely nuked the resale value. I'm seeing 2-year-old Tundras sitting at wholesale auctions with no bidders because the market is terrified of the V6 gremlin. Look, cars are getting more complex, and manufacturers are rushing them to market before they're ready. My advice? Follow the 3-year rule. Never buy a brand new engine design or a first-generation EV until the beta testers, otherwise known as the first-year buyers, have found all the flaws for you. If this video saved you from a $10,000 mistake, hit that subscribe button. Stay greasy and stay smart. I'll see you in the next one.